What's up, guys? From BC here, and we've got a crazy video for you today. Another episode of Crypto Talk. I have Dale Forward with me today. He is an NFT artist on Algorand, and we are going to go through all those. We're gonna dig into that. But first, Dale, I got to ask you, how the heck do you draw two-handed, man? That's crazy.
Oh yeah, well, it's a crazy story actually. Um, so I drew this book that uses red and blue glasses, like the old 3D movies,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah, and so it was a book like that I drew all with my right arm over about like 2.5 years or so. It was like my first ever comic book,
Oh
and
wow.
I was
Yeah, we used to
drawing.
have a lot of those when I was a kid, like those books that were like, yeah, they were red and blue, and you put the glasses on, and they kind of jumped
Yeah.
out at you.
Yeah, but and so the different one though with mine was instead of it being in 3D, you close
Hmm.
one eye and swapped eyes, and so then you get two images per page.
Oh
And so
yeah.
yeah, so I was mucking around with this idea for this warlock who's got a cursed eye, and then you see the real eye
Mhm.
and the cursed eye. And so, but basically, yeah, I was making that book, and because I was drawing heaps, my right arm was getting really sore. I was thinking it was probably because of the overuse and like the slight build in muscles is just starting to pull on my body a little bit more. So
Mhm.
me just sort of thinking like, how could I remedy this? And I thought, well, maybe I'll just start trying to draw with my other arm and balance my body out a little bit. And so over time, I just started to do more two-handed drawing. Like they were really rubbish and stuff. It was more just moving as like a healing process. But then over time, like I started to just practice this one symbol that I do all the time, where it was a skull and crossbones upside down, and so it would become
Hmm.
more just like a little party trick, basically. So then I could sit with my mates, and I'll be like, "Yeah, you want to see what I've been up to lately?" And then like, so I can draw a little two-handed skull and crossbones, and so just from like 5 or 10 minutes a day, every day, I'd practice. Like I'd eventually get really good at it, and so about 2 years down the track, I felt confident with but drawing with both hands, and to the point, yeah, where like now my body's so used to using my other hand that I feel heaps more centered in my life as well. Like 100%, if you're an artist or something, really like I recommend testing out your other side of your body, like for about 2-ish years, pretty casually, and it can change
Wow.
your life.
That's
But yeah.
fascinating, dude. Now, do you do that on your project Gods?
Yeah, so well, Algo Gods is a bit of a catch-all for all my art at the moment.
Oh,
Like it
okay.
started off as just a 3D sort of thing with big godlike creatures.
Mhm.
But I also started throwing in my old school drawings in there, and like because I was like an ink drawer from like a few years ago and stuff. And so I was putting that in there, and people were loving that, like, and really picking it up. So then I made some two-handed drawing like videos as well for the collection, and people were really like
Mm.
digging that. So Algo Gods for me is like trying to show my journey and development as an NFT artist so far. And if you go through like from the start to where I'm at now, I've done maybe about 360 like artworks so far, and there's definitely like a slow increase, but also you can see all the experiments and stuff too.
Well, that's
It's
that's that's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it's really cool stuff. And I was just kind of thinking about like I was thinking about the art style behind some of them, and they kind of seem like a mix of like D&D, Forgotten Realms, and like mythology, like Greek and Roman mythology. Is that, do you think that is that kind of your influence, or like what comes into it?
Yeah. Yeah, like so there's I love all the fantasy stuff. So like yeah, D&D is a big influence. Stuff like games like Skyrim and like Heroes of Might and Magic way back.
Oh yeah.
Um Other stuff like cartoons too of like there's just like Futurama and stuff and stuff like
Mhm.
that style of the bold characters. But as well there's like an influence on like from life too and like so psychedelic art and just nature in itself. And then as well, yeah, the traditional art like medieval Renaissance art and then sort of modern takes on that people have been doing, usually like fantasy art concept stuff too. I just
Hmm.
because the way that I sort of see it is that art that doesn't maybe have an intention or a meaning just doesn't have value. And
Yeah.
so for me, my sort of intention is to give a sort of energy or be able to represent something that I want to maintain in my life. So it could be that I make an artwork to try and remember how I was feeling when I made that artwork because I see that as valuable and I want to like try and copy that and build on that.
Mm.
Or making like a harmonious sort of picture to relax people and make them feel, I guess, in a way like maybe closer to their own spirituality and stuff like that.
See, I think that's why like your stuff stood out to me. I think the two-handed drawing that you did back in early August, I think that was the thing that caught my attention at first, but then I went back and looked through your stuff and like yeah, I think there's real intentionality behind it. I think that's why it's so interesting to me because a lot of NFT art doesn't really interest me that much, but your
Yeah.
stuff like really stuck out to me and that might be why. So just kind of going to your background, um, I assume that you've just kind of been drawing all your life. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
Mhm.
So like there's photos of me when I was a kid in primary school drawing. I was always like a bit of an arty creative kid. And people were encouraging me when I was in like school. It was only probably in like high school that I realized that there was a bit of a difference between me and the normal like kid that didn't really draw. Like that's what I always wanted to do. And then as I went through high school, I was always focusing on art and drawing and stuff, and
Mhm.
I guess that was sort of the way that I like communicated with others. Like that's what I love to do and share with the world. And then I went to like after high school, I went and studied digital media, doing like a bit of 3D modeling and website design. At that point, I didn't know that I'd be coming back to it about 10 years later, but then I was doing all like the basic digital media stuff. Then I went and did primary school teaching at university for about 5 years and
Oh
sort
wow.
of taught myself how to learn. And while I was doing that, I was still drawing. That's when I wrote my
Mhm.
first comic book, the 3D glasses one. And unfortunately, I didn't like pass completely the teaching thing. But I sort of see that as a positive too, because it made me sort of look into my art a whole lot more. Where I feel like if I was to have passed the degree, I sort of would have felt like I had to be a teacher. Where now I have
All
that
right.
freedom to go and do all my art.
Yeah,
And so then I could,
I think there's a value in not just figuring out what you want, but also figuring out what you don't want.
yeah,
I think that's
exactly, yeah.
a big value. I really do. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, so after yeah, teaching I did a course in arts administration, like working at a gallery. But it was at that time that all the stuff that they were teaching me, I kind of had already taught myself because I was running an online
Mhm.
business for selling books and I was working with other artists anyway, selling their books. And so
Mhm.
the assignments there were easy. Like
Nice.
um and then after that, I went and did a start your own business course that's like funded by the government here in Australia. And
Mhm.
so that was like a 6 week intensive course. And during that time, while I was doing it, I just sort of taught myself how to do augmented reality, and made a augmented reality tarot card deck, which was kind of fun.
Wow.
And like yeah, and just learning like I feel like similar to the other course, like the business stuff that they were teaching me, I kind of felt like I already knew because I'd been doing book sales for about 2 years. But it was good as like just going through everything and making sure that I actually knew what I was doing. Because then I
Mhm.
wasn't trying to learn big things. I was just taking in all the little things that like can easily be get forgotten, like just little business practices. And then after that, I went and did a game design course, which because of my experience with AR and the game making program, I basically could smash it out pretty easily. And and that's when I started to go into NFTs. Um, and because every other art form that I was doing just wasn't making enough money.
Right.
And at that time, this is maybe like just after COVID sort of thing. Um, well, it was like the end of last year that I really started going into heavy into NFTs. And they were the only
Mhm.
things that were actually selling and actually making some money. So I thought, well, I'm just going to chase that. And yeah, and then ETH wasn't going so good in terms of gas fees.
Right.
Um, People just weren't buying because gas fees were so high. And so
Mhm.
people suggested Algorand. and I tested that out. The community really supported me early on, and so they helped me understand the NFT culture and the projects and
Mhm.
stuff, and the direction that I could do.
Yeah, that's
And
one of
so
the
then,
things I tell people. It's like I didn't set out to start an Algorand channel. It's really more of a like a general crypto channel, but I just keep coming back to Algorand stuff because it just works. Like it's the gas fees
yeah,
are low, the speed is fast. The projects I built on it seem to just work. Like I think that's great.
yeah, that's the weird thing. Like, because going into crypto, I didn't really know much about crypto. I knew like Bitcoin and Ethereum exist. That was about it. Like, and then
Mhm.
and I've like mucked around with it a little bit, but so I was always just a bit scared of every crypto. I thought, oh yeah, I don't know how they would
Mhm.
work, or like.
Right.
But then going on to Algorand, it sort of did feel like it was made by like professional businessmen, and it felt like
Mhm.
it was something that the government would make if they were to try and make it. Like it felt just
Mm.
clean and simple and stuff, and I see that in the community and how it responds to it too. Like I know there's heaps of issues with it still. Like it's still early days. We're still building everything on
Sure.
it. Like, but but I can see that the people that come to Algorand, like more times, like often than not, they're going to stay. There's only going to be a few people that will leave, and that might be because like maybe they just aren't supported by the community in their projects, or maybe they're just not trusting exactly what's going on or whatever,
Yeah.
or they found something else that works better for them. But
Mhm.
really, like for a starting out artist or any sort of project, like so I started when one of my mates gave me 2 algo. I've never bought algo, right? And so
Really?
like from that 2 algo, I can like build up to where I am now.
Oh wow.
Crazy. Yeah, yeah. Like I've only ever taken out algo. So it's yeah, it's a crazy thing to think that, and like they gave me 2 algo when it was like maybe $2 or $3 in Australian and stuff. And so like, but even
Mhm.
then it's crazy how much potential you can get. Where with ETH, I always found there was a lot of just errors and stuff where the first two times I tried to get on Ethereum, I had like paid the gas, but the gas didn't go through. And so
Yeah.
then you have to pay the gas still.
Yep.
I was like, what kind of system is this? Like, I didn't know that that was fine and everybody was used to that,
Right.
like,
It's crazy,
I was
right?
thinking,
Like,
yeah, I was like, is this an error or something? But it's like, no, that's just how it is.
yeah,
And that's what,
same thing happened to me. I think that's how I ended up in Algo because it's like, oh, this actually works. Like it doesn't just spit an error
yeah,
and take my money. Like this is awesome.
yeah, exactly.
Well,
And,
so like learning the how much of a learning curve was it to kind of learn the idea of NFTs or how they work? Like because I've done a lot of I did a lot of like digging around one point just to try to find out like general strategies, and I found a lot of like how to how to like mint one. I'm like, okay, cool, but like
yeah,
as far as like broader strategies, at least last time I looked, and this was probably about a year ago, there wasn't a lot out there on just like the broader strategies for like what's expected, how often should you release these, how do you put them together, and so on and so forth. So
yeah.
how did you manage that? I guess.
Well, yeah, so that was something I dove in deep because, so the first thing that I kind of learned was, Twitter Spaces and private messaging for people is huge. Like, finding maybe like 5 or 10 guys or whatever that you can just ask dumb questions to heaps, and just be like,
Mhm.
"What is this?" And like, "How do I do this?" And then they'll be like, "Yeah, bro, it's just this." Like, and so finding some people that you can ask hundreds of dumb questions to, and like, because they just believe that you're probably gonna do all right. Um, that's huge. Like, and having going on Twitter Spaces and just talking to people about the dumb stuff first,
Mm.
because then you can get a lay of the land. And but then like because then you just get the general idea of what type of projects there are, what the basic expectations are, like pricing and collection size, stuff like that. But for me, it was actually also really interesting for me to unravel because Algorand's primarily generative art collections that have maybe some form of utility. That's basically like a lot of the projects.
It
And
is,
so
you're
then I
right.
come in
Mm.
yeah, like I come in with a one of one artwork sort of style thing, like high fantasy, pure, like just pure art stuff, no utility. And then I'm there thinking, my stuff's selling, and I don't really
Mhm.
know why. Like, and that was the thing. He's like, because I know it's working, but I don't know why. And so like, I
Mhm.
spent like a solid few months asking everybody about what, like, why do you like my stuff? Like, what's your vision for it long term? You know, like, why, like, what do you plan on doing with it and stuff? And so I think talking to holders about your specific project is really important too. Um, and for me, I realized that for my, because it's art people, I think there's a broad range of people in the algo space, and there's some people that collect art just for the sake of it. And I think that I sort of see it maybe like the birds that collect blue things, and or like
Oh
the
yeah, yeah.
bowerbirds, or just like when you go to the beach, you find a good shell and you want to take it home. Um,
Mhm.
I see it like that, where you see something special in it and you want it in your life. And so I can make that sort of stuff. But then there's also the other side of that too, where it's people like investing in me. So seeing me in long term, they might think that my stuff should go up in price over time. But they also know that it might take ages to do. So they're
Right.
just like, I'm gonna buy it for the art first because I love it. And if it goes up, like I hope it does, but if it doesn't, I still have a good piece of art. So it's kind of
Mhm.
in a way a win-win. Anybody that buys it and they don't like the art, that's the sort of thing I try and discourage. Like I try and say really publicly to people, like saying, I hope you buy one that you connect with, like that's meaningful for you. And if you do that too, it helps the whole project too, because then if everybody had the ones that they really wanted, then they probably wouldn't sell them, or if they did, they'd sell them for a higher price. And so now the whole collection as a whole would have a higher floor price and stuff in theory. Um, and so that's where, yeah, like I had to explore, because I was comparing myself to these generative projects, where like they've got a whole different business plan. It's like if
Mhm.
you were to compare, like a pizza shop's business plan to a car dealership. Like, it's like, ugh, they're still dealing with money and stuff, but then you don't compare. They're not the same thing at all.
Right.
Like, and that's why I think it's a struggle sometimes for like artists coming in where they have no comparison, and like their all their numbers are lined up on like graphs and stuff with other just generative utility things, and it's not the same thing. Like, and but like it is, but it's not really like the way that they approach things. Like the price increases tend to be heaps lower for artists, while the generative can be up and then pretty down
Crashes
sharply, and
again.
then
Yeah.
yeah. So
Mhm.
I've tried to just figure it out on my own for a bit and try and record my process or be really open about it. So then any other artists that are coming in, they can be like, oh yeah, well that's sort of how
Mhm.
Dale's been doing it. Like maybe we'll just sort of copy them or whatever, like stuff like that. So I've
Have
sort of had to figure it out.
have NFTs like changed your process at all, or have they do you feel like it's changed your art at all?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. So like I think because the big thing with art is how you frame it basically. Like and
Mhm.
so if the frame changes, then you need to change the artwork in it to make it look better. So like like how you've got say the artworks up on your wall behind you,
Right.
the you couldn't just swap those artworks in the frames. Obviously they wouldn't work, like one would be heaps small, one would be heaps big. And so in a digital landscape then, like on Twitter, Twitter's basically the framing sort of thing now.
Oh yeah.
Same with the marketplaces as well, NFT Explorer and stuff. And so I've considered about the dimensions of the artwork and the resolution, but as well as like the content too, because I've noticed that if people are heaps used to PFP projects, that's how they think art kind of is in a way. And so or that's what they're so used to seeing. So I've found that a lot of my artworks that have a kind of face or a character, especially one that's presented quite directly in the piece, tend to go a bit better. Like people connect with it more,
Hmm.
and so I try and encourage that. in my art. Um, as well as tapping into the main community, which is the gaming sort of D&D, like nerdy kind of guys, like the
Right.
partiers and stuff. And
Me.
so yeah, yeah. And so I try and like tap into that because they're the
Mhm.
people, like, and I'm also kind of one of them too. So I want to speak to my people like through that. And so because I've gotten more experience with those people, I'm making art more for them. And so I guess it's not that I maybe have changed my art, but this is just like the natural progression where I'm just like, yeah, this
Mhm.
makes my art better and it's better for the people. And
And
yeah, I guess it's just me trying to be more clear about getting my base idea across, which is that energy, and trying to get that like that power and lifting up people a bit more through my art.
Hmm.
And so yeah.
Are you still doing comic books as well? And do you see a future where NFTs will play a heavy role in comic books?
Well, so I do have my links with the comic book printers, and eventually I will make a book of like algo gods and stuff, just like of the pure art.
Nice.
So it's good to have that resource and stuff there.
Mhm.
I think that yeah, like people still like comic books. Like
Mhm.
I think that a comic book store is harder to run these days, like a
It
physical one.
is.
And so yeah, so they're going more to the digital way.
Mhm.
But people still love collecting them. Like
Yeah,
it's
a friend of mine from high school is a pretty well-known comic artist now, Tim Seeley.
yeah. Yeah, no, and I think it's because there's a certain style of it too. It's like I think that that's what happened with PFPs in a way is it developed into a style like similar to how we have like fine art and then we have stickers and shirts. Like they've all sort of got their own little way of being, and PFPs are now the new emerging ones. But yeah, comic books are still around, and I think that the best way that NFTs are probably going to be using like comic books is doing like Kickstarter sort of things or like
Oh yeah.
crowdfunding them to be made. Um, and that's probably the simplest way that people are going to connect with it. Or just as a new way to release it. So
Mhm.
like you could sell 1,000 and then you just get shipped it. Or as well though, a really simple way is giving them actually out as the NFT. So NFTs being like PDFs. I've actually made like a story based NFT too that you can like scroll through the
Hmm.
pages and read it, and
Nice.
it's all in one contained thing.
Oh wow.
The only issue with that, like, so that was made as a HTML NFT. So it was basically a mini website put as an NFT.
Oh,
But
interesting.
yeah, yeah. The issue though with that is some marketplaces can't run it because they don't recognize and they can't take it out. So that's a thing that I think in the space, it's something that not many people
Mhm.
do, and people don't do it because the marketplaces can't do it, and so maybe it's just going to slow it down heaps until some
Interesting.
people have to say I have to do that for my project.
Well,
But
I'm interested in that because my I helped my friend film a feature-length film recently, and I was thinking like it'd be fun to sell either stills or little clips and do it like as an NFT to raise some money for the because the films are
yeah,
pretty expensive to shoot, and we raised some money on like one of the not I don't think it was GoFundMe, but we used one of those sites like that to raise some money. But I thought selling like NFTs might be a fun way to like raise some money for the project. But I'm pretty I'm not super educated when it comes to NFTs yet.
yeah. Oh well, I'm always happy to help out, man. You just send me a message, but
Oh,
like
appreciate that.
yeah, but because yeah, I think that doing crowdfunding, which is basically like so that's what I did for my last release of a collection. So I my
Mhm,
algo gods are selling at a slightly higher price now. So 200 algo, which people are like that's reasonable, like that's a good price. But then there's a
mhm,
lot of people that are just like I just can't afford that. Like I love your
right.
art, but I can't pick it up. And so then I was thinking, all right, there's people that don't have enough algo to pick up that, but want to pick up my stuff. And so I made a collection, a generative art collection of little devils. They were 5 algo
Mhm,
each, and I basically said to everybody, "This is cheap. Like, if you want a piece of mine, like artwork, then you can pick this up if you want it." And also, the top five. ranked devils on like rarity will get a free algo god. And so
Oh, nice.
so it's like, yeah, you can, it's a different way to release it. But for me in my head, from like the business point of view, it was like, all right, I make these 5 algo gods and this collection, and I make about, because there's 1,000 pieces, so I'll make about 5k algo. And so then if I was to divvy that up, well then now I'm kind of making more than what I did when I was trying to sell the algo gods originally, but it's also more accessible and easier
Mhm.
for people to consume. And so it's sort of, it's a different method of sale and stuff. And that for me was like a really good way to sort of crowd fund me making these gods, because otherwise I would have had them up for sale and I probably would have gotten less for them, in
Mhm.
that sort of sense. So crowdfunding can be just a huge good way of selling, especially if you can be happy with a lower price per image or whatever. And that's why the generative art's so big at the moment, because I spent 2 days on the little devil artworks and then about 5 days on the actual gods. And so you can
Hmm.
smash it out in a fairly quickly sort of thing. But then yeah, so that's why like crowdfunding for movies and stuff I think is going to be
Mhm.
heaps more important, especially because then you can offer benefits. So maybe they could be like, one thing I see is voice acting. So if you got like say a cartoon character, for example, then a
Oh
holder
yeah.
that spends however much money can be a voice. You could also have like that anybody that supported their name maybe shows up randomly in the movie somewhere or something like that, like, and that's where it's, when you're selling the NFTs to people, and you're not only getting algo or like the cryptocurrency, but you're getting people that are holding onto your stuff and are investing
Mhm.
in your stuff. And so now they can
True.
help make decisions. They can be like the first supporters. They can help you promote. And so, and that's where I sort of think the early on with NFTs, if you're going into it, is to not worry too much about the money side of things if you can, and just worry
Mhm.
about getting your name out there and getting people interested in your work, because then through them you'll learn more about the space, and then
That
you can
makes
grow
sense.
from that.
That makes sense.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
And then just to kind of cap things off, like, so we talked about how your algo gods like don't have a function, but I saw that you posted that you were looking for someone to turn it into a game. Are we gonna see an algo games god in the
Oh
algo
man,
gods
like
game in the future?
I'm always interested in learning new things. I there is like a little choose your own adventure text game that's going on in the background that one of my mates is making.
Oh, nice.
Um, yeah, it could be cool, but yeah, I'm always trying to think about how I can take my stuff to the next level.
Mhm.
The thing that I realized after making that post is that I sort of already knew this, but I'm not a developer. Like I can
Mhm.
make games, but not for NFTs and logging in and everything like that. Like that's a whole
Mhm.
different kettle of fish. But like, um, but there's just, it's early in the space. There's not enough devs in the space really to do all the things that people want to do.
Yeah,
And as well,
you guys are both in Australia, you could just bother the Cosmic Champs guys, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
They're probably a
But
little
yeah,
busy at the moment, though.
yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, the people that can do it are just way too busy. And
Right.
so I sort of think that after a bit of time in the space, there's going to be more like templates made up. There's going to be more
Mhm.
open coding sort of stuff. It'll probably still be hard to find people, but it'll be just easier for newcomers to come and learn that sort of stuff. And so that's the sort of thing, is like I was just trying to see the lay of the land at the moment and who can actually help out,
Yeah,
and get
plus
an idea
nobody's
of
really
how.
figured out the economics yet. Like it's everyone's kind of
Yeah,
playing around with stuff, and no one's quite got it right. I'll be curious to see if Cosmic Champs can be the one to kind of get it right. It'll be interesting to see.
yeah, yeah. No, but yeah, I'll sort of see how I'm going. At the moment, I'm just focusing on art. That's like
Mhm.
my main utility of making cool art. And that's what I'm good at and what I enjoy the most. So that's what I'd love to spend most of my time on.
Well, you're
Yeah.
definitely good at it. It's great stuff, and I can't wait to pick one up myself. So, if people want to come find you, what's the best way to find Dale Ford and his art?
Twitter would be the best way. So
Mhm.
my Twitter handles DF Art. 2287, or DFart. And yeah, 2287's my postcode because I made it when I was heaps younger. Like, but I'm just sticking with it because all the promo material is
Right.
all that now. But yeah, so Twitter's the best way. My website for my books and other like media and stuff, staleforward.com.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, like I've got an Instagram that's DFR22872, but I don't really use it that much. If you just want to see
Gotcha.
some of my art and see the art from when I was heaps younger as well, you can check that out.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, that's all I'd probably say.
Otherwise, they're what on Rand Gallery and
Yeah, Rand Gallery. So my collections that I've made real quick are Algo Gods, Al Goblin Toen, so Toen because it's town misspelt, and that's Algo Goblin Toen 1 and 2, and there's Wizard Kings and Lil Devil Club. So
nice.
Lil spelt Lil.
Mm.
Um,
Well, Dale,
yeah,
thanks for being on today. I appreciate it. It's great talking with you guys. Make sure you go check out his NFTs. They're pretty cool stuff. I think it's the kind of NFT projects we want to see on Algorand. You know, it's really good art first and foremost. It just happens to be an NFT, and I like that. So, Dale, thanks so much.
thank you, man. Thanks so much.